Good morning. Welcome to the online worship service of Kitsap Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I invite you to follow along in the order of service. All the links for this service, including the order of service, are on our website and in this morning's service email. Whoever you are and wherever you come from, for this hour, we are here, one gathered congregation, and all are welcome. My name is Lisa Johnson. I serve on the board of directors for KUUF. I volunteer in Nancy Joe's garden, picked lots of tomatoes this summer, and look forward to someday singing again with our wonderful choir under the direction of Mike Menifee. Our worship leader this morning is our own Reverend Jessica Starr Rockers, our minister. And what a joy it is to welcome Reverend Jessica's return to KUUF from her summer leave. As part of today's service, we will participate in a ritual of return, our water ritual. You might want to have a liquid of some kind nearby as we observe that ritual. And I'd like to welcome any visitors. Please introduce yourself after the service at our Zoom coffee hour. We have changed the Zoom ID for the coffee hour, and that is in the email which was sent to us all this morning, but the password is the same, coffee with a capital C. The link will also show on your screen following our worship service. You'll need to use the password coffee. The announcements are available on our website at www.kuuf.org or in our weekly email newsletter, The Candle. Now, Jacob Stewart Haskell will offer our land acknowledgement. Following that, our musical call to worship will be shared on our video. Please enjoy Brian Kenny, Alina Hemingway, and Mike Menifee performing hymn number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
My name is Jacob, and I am a member of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe of the Lakota people. We would like to start today by acknowledging that the land on which we all live is the Aboriginal territory of the Squamish people. They have lived in harmony with the lands and waterways along Washington's central Salish Sea for thousands of years. These tribes still live here and protect the lands and waters of their ancestors for future generations, as promised by the Point Elliott Treaty of 1855.
Come thou fount of I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. I offer you love. I see your beauty. I hear your needs. I feel your feelings. My wisdom comes from within. I honor that source in you. Let us work together.
Thank you, Hazel. Our opening hymn, Blue Boat Home, was written by Peter Mayer, who wrote these lyrics to the gorgeous Hifrydal tune, but he also recast the tune a bit. It's still in the same meter, 3/4, but guitar strums turned to piano notation make it feel more like 6/8, which makes it feel as rolling and pulsing as the ocean itself. He also extends the final phrase, giving space and room for blue boat home to breathe and fill us with wonder. Please join in singing our opening hymn, Blue Boat Home, number 1064 in our teal hymnal. The lyrics will appear on your screen. The music is performed by Brian Kenny, Alina Hemingway, and Mike Menifee. Please join me in the spoken affirmation. The words will appear on your screen. We gather as a caring community, seeking life's deeper meaning. We value diversity and affirm the worth of all living things. We strive to speak truth in love, to act for justice, to grow in spirit, and to care for the earth. We celebrate with open hearts and minds the creative power that sustains and transforms us. Now it is time for our morning offering. You may donate electronically or by check. If you would like to donate electronically, please use the PayPal link on our website or in this morning's email. You may then email admin@kuuf.org to let us know if your donation is for 1, the KUUF General Fund, 2, the Minister's Discretionary Fund to help our members in need, or 3, our monthly charitable giving recipient for October, Kitsap Mental Health. Funds that are not given a designation will go to our general fund. If you'd like to donate by check, please send a check to the address on the screen. In the memo line, designate to which of the funds your offering should go. If this is your first time at KUUF, you are our guest. There is no need to contribute. So let there be an offering to strengthen and sustain our community, which is sacred to so many of us. Our gift of music will be followed by the children's story.
Good morning, everyone. Hello to all my old friends and welcome to everyone who is new in these last couple months, everyone I haven't met yet. I am Reverend Jessica and I am here with Liam and William, who is off camera. We have been gone for a while, but we are so glad to be back with you. And today we wanted to do a little ritual of return, and we are going to use water. So if you want to participate at home, and you haven't gotten a glass of water, now would be a good time to go and get one. You have a little bit. I'm going to talk for a little while. If you have a cup of juice or a mug of coffee, that works too. We can always use our imaginations. And our ritual of return today honors not only our return to KUUF, but it honors all of us who have returned to school and work after summer break. And we honor the change of the seasons to call ourselves back together as a community. The rains are returning, and I am so happy when I wake up and I see that it's raining. The holidays loom up ahead, and I don't know about you, but this is my favorite time of year. Every September, just like us, Unitarian Universalist congregations around the country celebrate this time of year with a ritual called the water communion or water ceremony. It's sometimes called ingathering or homecoming. We celebrated homestaying last year, if you remember. And this annual ritual usually centers around water. Each person takes a turn pouring a little bit of water into one shared vessel, symbolizing how, like the rivers returning to the ocean, after time apart on our separate journeys over the summer, we always return to one another. It symbolizes our lives commingling, our connectedness to one another, and the interdependent web. How truly, when each person's contribution, their water, their life, is poured out into community, we cannot distinguish separateness. We are all one water. And you probably know, since you're all scientists, up to 60% of the human body is water. And that number is for adult bodies. Children are made up of an even higher percentage of water. So we really are all water. Here in the Pacific Northwest, when the rains return in the fall, we can remember the water in me, the water in you, and the water in the rain and in the lakes and the rivers, in the ocean, in the faucets in our kitchens and bathrooms. This is all the same water. And in fact, scientists, you may know, this is all the same water that has ever been. Earth's water system is finite. The same water in us, the same water we drink, the water that pours from the sky is a part of the water cycle on our planet that has been cycling for millions and billions of years. Am I right about that, William? And it changes and transforms from liquid to solid to vapor, back and forth, over and over. But you can be sure that the water we drink, the sweat that comes up from our skin, the tears that fall from our eyes, these were once the water and sweat and tears of a prehistoric creature. William likes to say that when we drink water, we are drinking dinosaur drool. It's funny to think about, but it reminds us that the interdependent web isn't only a spiritual truth, it is scientific fact. And I love when that happens. Spiritual truth and scientific fact coming together. That's what Unitarian Universalism is all about. And so today we honor water, and in our ritual express our gratitude for the rains which nourish us, for the blood and sweat and tears of our lives that we share with one another and across the generations, for the water that blesses and brings life to this planet. Indigenous wisdom tells us that water is life. Water is life. And so we begin our ritual of return by reflecting on water. And this reflection is in 4 parts. And this ritual is adapted from one created by Darcy Elizabeth Hegvig Lane. For us today, since we are not all in the sanctuary as usual, our glasses of water will serve as the pitcher that represents our separate journeys to this moment, and our bodies will serve as the container that represents our shared community, our shared world, and the interdependent web. So you can hold your glass in one hand and put your hand on your heart with the other if you want. The first part of our ritual today honors drought, because even though water is necessary for life, for the flourishing of humanity and the planet, not everyone has access to safe and affordable water. According to drought.gov, currently 40% of the U.S. is in drought. 75.8 million people in the U.S. are affected by drought this week. Here in Kitsap County, we are classified as abnormally dry. But just to the south of us in California, they are experiencing exceptional drought, which is the most extreme. Across the world, it is like this everywhere. No continent has been spared of this same level of severe lack of water. The earth is thirsty. Our fellow humans are thirsty. Water is a human right, and not everyone has it. And so we start by acknowledging our thirst and not taking a drink. For those times when we do not have enough, when we do not feel connected, when we are cut off, let us remember that while some have abundance, others struggle in scarcity. And now let us honor our separate journeys. That travel, movement, whether physical or emotional or spiritual, the change we have experienced this summer. This is the water that carries us. Like the liquid to solid to vapor and back again, we are like the water cycle, ever changing, ever seeking transformation. Where have you been this summer? What has changed for you? What is transforming into something new? Let us take a sip, or for those that don't have a beverage, you can use your imagination. You can remember the ocean welcomes all rivers. Now it is time to honor the water that symbolizes the storms in our lives, the concerns and sorrows, confusions and frustrations. It reminds us of the power of water, how it can sometimes be destructive. This summer we saw around our country the effect of hurricanes and floods. Around the world, cities and towns were devastated. It was called the Summer of Floods, places that had never experienced anything like it before. How can it be that we have drought in one place and floods in another? This imbalance in our ecosystem is because of climate change. And so we take our sip first as a prayer that we and our global leaders use this moment as a wake-up call. May this water we drink be a water of healing for ourselves in the storms of our lives and for our planet. And now for the final part of our ritual. We honor the waters that sustain us, the well springs of our lives. What sustains you when you are feeling empty? What are the joys and hopes that buoy you up? For what are you most grateful this morning? I am grateful for all of you gathering here in worship today. I'm grateful for Liam and William who are with us. Let us drink from our cup and be nourished. Like water flowing to the sea, we have returned. From the mountains and rivers and quiet places where we ran out some time of our days in recent months, we have returned. Joining together, we comprise this sea of continuity, filled with myriad currents, carrying along our spiritual and emotional journeys in a cycle of change. Ocean, mist, rain, trickle, stream, river, ocean. That keeps us alive and changing. May we continue to deeply regard one another, truly listen to each other, speak what each of us must speak, and be ready in any moment to disarm our own hearts and always live as if a realm of love has already begun. Blessed be, and amen. And now we put down our cups and our beverages and we close our ritual in song. Today, I'm playing a different instrument. This is a ukulele. I am just learning it. So you will forgive me if I miss a note in our song, and you'll see I have the notes written down so I don't forget them. But you all know it so well, you can sing the right notes no matter what I play, right? And really, Mike and Brian, our music team, will probably disagree with me. But for this song, there really is no right note. Just pick one that feels good. And the most important part is to sing. Now, there's an old story about a woman who fetched water. She would carry 2 buckets down to the river from her house and back again. And one of the buckets, she discovered, had a leak in it. And at first she felt bad, that she was wasting water as she walked home. Sometimes by the time she got there, the bucket was half empty. But she started to notice on the side of the path where the water dripped, flowers began to grow. She was watering the earth as she walked. And I want you to remember this as we sing our song, This Little Light of Mine. Your light, our inner light, is like the water that nourishes the soil so flowers can grow. Sometimes we might feel broken and leaky, but it's from those broken places where our light can pour out. So, shall we sing?
Yes.
With the ukulele? I hope you can hear this. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I'm doing okay. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the world, all around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Ooh, lost it there at the end of that one. Let's try this. This little light of mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All right. Thank you for singing.
Now it is time for our joys and sorrows. Though we are physically distanced from one another, our hearts and our spirits remain connected. When shared together, our joys are amplified and our sorrows lessened. We have 3 joys today. Jeff Campbell is glad to know that UUs are serving food to those who need it. Lori Steves has a joy that she's returned to Washington State, knowing that this is her true home. Welcome home, Lori. She's enjoying her new apartment and is working a lot. She's so glad to be back.
And Bunny and Matthias Starica are joyful that their daughter Rowan turned 2 on October 1st. Happy birthday, Rowan. She is a shy little one, sharp as a tack, and becoming increasingly opinionated and independent. Her parents are so very proud of her. And we light one last candle for all those joys and sorrows that remain unspoken in our hearts. And now please join me in a moment of prayer and intention. Spirit of life and love, we are so grateful to be in community this morning. We honor our many joys today, the joy of connecting to our larger community, the joy of returning home, and those precious lives of our youngest members and the boundless joy that they bring. We are truly grateful. We also especially honor today Indigenous wisdom, how it tells us of the sacredness of water and of life. And we celebrate Indigenous Peoples' Day tomorrow and every day. For all of this and for all those joys and sorrows we hold in the silence of our hearts, we lean into the love and care of this beloved community, and we are held. May the spirit of life and love bring peace to us all. Amen. Now please join in singing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. The words will appear on your screen. Our reading today is the poem The Fountain by Denise Levertov. Don't say there is no water to solace the dryness at our hearts. I have seen the fountain springing out of the rock wall, and you drinking there, and I too, before your eyes, found footholds and climbed to drink the cool water. The woman of that place, shading her eyes, frowned as she watched, but not because she grudged the water, only because she was waiting to see we drank our fill and were refreshed. Don't say there is no water. That fountain is there, among its scalloped green and gray stones. It is still there and always there, with its quiet song and strange power to spring in us, up and out through the rock. And now for a moment of silent reflection. It has been a while since I have stood in this pulpit. It's good to be here. I missed it, and I missed all of you. You here in this room, this amazing worship team, and you who are all watching online. It's hard to know who is watching the service online, but I can imagine your faces, all of those that I know and all those that I don't. And of course, I wish I was seeing your faces in person right now. We thought we might be in person by now. But I can imagine you at home or wherever you are watching from. While I was gone this summer, I was watching worship too, from all sorts of different places. There was no way for you all to know that, but I was. As you may know, my dad got sick in late June, about 2 weeks before he and my mom were supposed to move out here and live near me in Kitsap County. And he spent the summer getting more and more sick, and he passed away on September 6th. It was a Monday, Labor Day. And I'm pretty sure he waited to make his transition until Monday because he wanted to worship with us just one more time. Because maybe you didn't know, but my dad has been watching worship with us ever since we went online in March of 2020. He really tried not to miss a Sunday. He loved our services. So I was going back and forth this summer between my family here in Washington and my family in Illinois, helping to care for my dad. And every Sunday that I was in Illinois, my dad and I attended worship. In the hospital, in the nursing home, and eventually at his own home where he spent his last days. So many times this summer, during some of the toughest days of my life, I attended worship and was ministered to by this community, by all of you and by the worship and tech teams and the music team and our amazing speakers, everyone who keeps this community going and holds it steadfast. The online service that has seemed like a second option, second best to our in-person worship, became so precious and important to me. It connected my dad and me throughout the last year of his life in ways that would have otherwise been impossible. And for that, and for so much more, I am so grateful to you all. So while I am personally in a season of grief, I am also in a season of deep gratitude and a season of hope, honestly. In the poem I just read, The Fountain by Denise Levertov, she pushes against hopelessness, reminding us that hope is always available, with its quiet and strange power to spring in us the way a fountain springs out of a rock wall. And this summer, along with all of you, I searched for those moments where I could drink from the fountain of love and community and family and hope, and solace the dryness at my heart. There are an infinite number of reasons to be hopeless these days, it seems. Many of us, if not all of us, are in a season of grief, a season of mourning and despairing over our losses, loss of freedom, loss of life. We grieve over the health of our planet, the chaos in our systems, and the violence that is perpetuated, one human to another, one organism to itself. How do we solace the dryness at our hearts? Indigenous wisdom tells us that water is life. Well, what if I told you that life is eternal? There are beautiful myths attached to this spiritual belief, a belief some of us may have rejected. But then we watch the way water transforms itself. We watch the rain fall from the sky and the brown earth turn green again, even now, even in October. We see it with our own eyes. The cycle is infinite, and we are a part of it. And this alone is solace. This alone is reason to hope. In this community, we all participate. We are all a part of this place, the cycle of the life of this congregation. And we return each fall like rivers to the ocean. We hold ourselves and one another both steadfastly and with grace to allow for transformation. We make space for one another to change and grow, and through it all, we remain one community. Each one of us bringing something unique, a gift no one else can bring. This is our strength. Jamila Batchelder and Molly Gordon wrote a meditation called The Strength of Water. The strength of water takes on many, many forms, just as each of you has a unique and necessary strength that you bring to our community and to the work of love. So take a moment now to drop down into the deep wellspring of your own spirit, to bathe yourself in the strength that is the groundwater of your person. Who are you? Are you a roaring fall wearing rock away with sheer force of will? Are you a tiny drop of water in a crevice, breaking it open slowly, steadily? Are you buoyant like a great salt lake, practiced at holding others aloft? Are you tenacious, like a mountain stream, finding your way down and around every obstacle you face? Are you still and calm, like a pond at daybreak? Are you in touch with hidden depths, pulling from a vast well? Do you soothe like the steam that rises from a cup of tea? Or do you dissolve away stubborn muck like water left in a pot to soak? Do you soften and smooth the edges like a creeping fog? Or do you clear away distraction like a cleansing rain? And through it all, do you roll with the ebb and flow like the ocean waves? Settle your mind upon the strength that is yours. Draw that strength into your heart. Draw it up into your soul. The many waters of this community, the tiny droplets, all together make an ocean of strength. No matter where we travel, spiritually or physically, or what journey we are on, our commitment and our love bring strength to the whole. Each of us willing to both drink from the fountain and make sure everyone else has also had enough to be refreshed. Whether we are triumphantly falling from the sky or slowly pouring out as tears, whether we are scattered like particles of fog and mist, or collected and huddled together in the bays and inlets of Puget Sound, we are always one gathered congregation. And together we are whole and holy. And now for our closing hymn, number 128, For All That Is Our Life.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use. others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love. We come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Well, thank you everyone for being here today, for finding us on YouTube. I'm so thrilled to be back among you. Our coffee hour is on Zoom as usual. The meeting ID will appear on your screen. This is a different meeting ID today, but the password is the same. And that the meeting ID is 871-5130-1811. 871-5130-1811. But the password is still coffee with a capital C. And now let us extinguish our chalice. In her song, "The Rock Will Wear Away," Holly Near sings, "Let us be like drops of water, falling on the stone, splashing, breaking, dispersing in air, weaker than stone by far, but be aware that as time goes by, the rock will wear away." Go into the world in peace as droplets of water. Know that this community, this large body of water, is here to sustain you in your works. So go. Change landscapes, nurture life, and honor all people. May it be so. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.